Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the Not So Serious Keto video podcast. I want to start out this podcast by talking about the last giveaway that I did, sort of giveaways in general. But first, congratulations to Ran Can Cook, who was the winner of the big giveaway that I did a couple of weeks ago when I hit 200,000. We'll talk about subscriber count later on in this podcast as well. But first, congratulations and thank you to everybody that entered. It's a lot of fun for me doing these giveaways. Well, actually, that's not true. The notion of a giveaway is fun. The actual mechanics of it all are a little bit unfun. One of the mechanics is just the incredible volume of comments. But I know it's coming. I'm aware that I'm going to get a ton of comments. And it does, I think, also prove to all of you that I read all the comments because I go through and I give them all hearts and all of that. But when you get, I think it was 2,400 comments in the first 40 hours or 24 hours, 36, it was in less than 2 days. Let's just say in less than 2 days, I had 2,400 comments. And that's a lot. That's a lot to go through and stay on top of. But I'm not complaining because I knew that was coming. That's one of the ways that I make the whole contest, not even contest, it's a giveaway. It's a giveaway. So I use this tool. It's called Comment Picker. You can get out, I think it's commentpicker.com, and you're able to go in and say, here's the video. Now search through all the comments, eliminate any duplicates, eliminate any replies, and pick one of them as a winner for me. The problem then, that's like the easiest part, I think. The problem then is scrolling through and trying to find that person's name because YouTube loads comments pretty slowly. Like if you get out onto that video and start scrolling, you get the scroll bar down to the bottom and then you got to kind of wait and it loads like 8 more comments and you just keep going and going and going. However, after all of that, I found out that the app on my phone is way more efficient. I can just do a search. I can go into any video and do a search on like Ran Can Cook and bam, right there. So that makes life a lot easier now going forward. The one thing that really kind of frustrates me, and I mentioned this in the giveaway video itself, I said, be prepared, there will be an imposter. There will be someone that takes my avatar or my little, whatever you call the little user picture. I think that's called an avatar, isn't it? Will take that and pose as me and then tell you to contact them using the WhatsApp app. And sure enough, it happened within less than a day. And the problem, there's a few problems with that. First is if somebody falls for it. And it appears that nobody fell for that this time. But this person or this bot gets out and replies to so many people, it's more comments then that I need to go through. And then it's sort of like playing whack-a-mole, trying to, delete these comments, block the user, and then they'll go and they'll create a new account. So this person actually did it on, I think, a Saturday, which meant it wasn't until Monday that I was able to get a hold of YouTube and say, look, there's this person posing as me. Once you do that and then link YouTube to that page, they're able to eliminate that person's account completely from YouTube, for fraudulent behavior. So one of the things I will tell you is if you ever see someone posing as me and it's not me, it doesn't have the little black outline around the name Serious Keto, you, I believe, have the ability, there's like a little 3-dot thing you can click on and say, report to YouTube. Generally, I think then it'll pull up a list, like porn, spam, commercial content, things like that, and you can report that. So you can help me police these in the future when I do my next giveaway. But I do plan on continuing to do these giveaways. I recognize that there's certain frustrations that are involved with all of it. And I can live with the ones that I bring upon myself, which is the number of comments and any sort of technical stuff. It's a shame that it is so easy for people to get out and pose, to be an imposter and pose as someone else on YouTube. And when you're a one-man show and you need to go through all the comments and monitor them yourself, that's a chunk of my time they could be better spent. So who knows, maybe one of these days the channel will get big enough that I can hire somebody who likes to work for free, probably, and have them be a co-moderator or something on comments. I don't know. We'll see. In terms of like getting big in size, of course, I mentioned that we just hit 200,000, which is, it's exciting. It's exciting for me. Some people said, don't let it go to your head. That's not the way I am. I don't think, I don't know what number it would take for something to go to my head. Maybe 1 million. I don't know. But I used to let a lot of things go to my head. And the problem is when you let things go to your head, it doesn't take long before somebody kicks you to the curb, whether it's a person, a circumstance, a life event, something like that. Sort of the old pride cometh before the fall situation. So now I try to take everything in stride. Just like March. March was an amazing month for this channel in terms of views. There was 1.1 million views. I don't know why I'm putting my hand over here. Like, what am I pointing at? Maybe I'll do it here so you can see it. Actually, it doesn't even matter. These are just hand gestures. But I had 1.1 million views, which is, again, it's mind-blowing and humbling to me. And it would have been easy to get a big head to think, okay, this is the elbow in the graph. You know, so growth, kind of steady. You see this in a lot of startups. Nothing happening, and 3, 2, 1, blast off. It just takes off. And that was not the case for March. It went like this, and then we're in April and went boop, right back down. Subscriber numbers have just plummeted. Not like current subscribers. It's not like people are leaving, but the number of new subscribers. I was knocking out 500-600 a day in March, new subscribers. And of course, then my brain starts thinking, all right, how long till I hit 250,000 or 300,000? And then almost coincidental with the 200,000 subscriber giveaway, I started dropping down to like 100 new subscribers a day. So anyhow, had I gotten all big-headed about 200,000, then right now I'd be all bummed out that the growth seems to have gone back to normal, and that's why I don't get a big head. There were a handful of comments on last week's podcast/interview, the one that I did with Dennis from Black Tie Kitchen, where people said how much they appreciate the fact that we're normal guys. We make mistakes, we admit to our mistakes, and I think we indicated in that video, we make a lot of mistakes. And this past week has been a pretty huge week of screw-ups for me personally. I don't know that I can credit the lack of caffeine on it, that just my brain isn't working all that well, but I wrote down a list of some of the things that have gone on in the past week. First one is, well, it didn't start as a screw-up, but I hope it's a good idea. I bought another camera, a second camera, so that I can try doing maybe some slightly better things in filming videos, like multicam sort of stuff. Because right now with just one camera, I'm always shifting the camera. So whether it's on me or whether it's, focusing down on my booze board, my cutting block, and every time I switch it, I've got to remember, okay, I got to change the ISO because it's too bright. Maybe I got to adjust the neutral density filter a little bit so that it doesn't glare too much. What else is on there? Oh, camera leveling. I don't have an auto level or a digital level on my camera. So the more I switch back and forth, the more I wind up having the potential of some sort of a continuity error or color or brightness or something. And I thought, okay, if I get a second camera and perhaps can figure out some way to set up a couple of different tripods where I've got one overhead looking down at the food and one on me, that maybe this becomes a little bit more smooth. Who knows? It might even make video editing a little bit better, class up the joint just a little bit. So I ordered this camera on Amazon, and after I get done, my wife, she's really good about doing this. She always goes in using one of my Amazon links from my videos, or just, go straight to the store video or a store link that I put in the description. Because you don't have to buy anything from the store, you don't have to buy what I link to, but then anything you buy, I get a little commission on. I don't know what it is, 2%, something like that. And I forgot to do that when I bought this new DSLR. So that was like 12 bucks right there that I kind of screwed myself out of. Fortunately, 12 bucks isn't going to change my lifestyle, but still, wish I would have been thinking of it. I'm going to sort of work my way up in terms of magnitude of some of these screw-ups here. So I was working out the other day, and I've got some resistance bands with handles, and then I've got this little attachment. I don't know what you call these things, where you got like the two little loops and you feed the nylon through it, and supposedly then it's tight. You know, as you pull on it, it tightens up. Here's what it looks like now that I've got a little bit of supportive duct tape on it to help out. But I didn't have that, and I was sitting down on my bench and I'm doing tricep pull downs, and the strap gave way. And it wouldn't have been horrible had it just been the 3 bands that hit me in the back of the neck, but it brought the whole strap with the little metal hook and everything, and it caught me right. Oh, it is so tender right now. There's not a real bruise, which is weird. I would think there would be a pretty horrific mark just based on how it felt, because this was it was a rocket launch of a slingshot of a metal hook right into this like base of my back, or base of my neck. I think I hear my cat meowing. Maybe he'll come pay a visit. So that was screw up number 2, check mark. Also, one of the things I've mentioned from time to time in my videos is that I think it's the condenser fan on my freezer up in the kitchen that makes a lot of noise. And I decided, okay, I got to replace this. I ordered the part months ago, a new motor, and it's just been sitting there waiting. I've been waiting for the right time where I can take everything out of the freezer and defrost it and disassemble and all of that. But I had on that Sunday, so it was on a Sunday, Terry and I recorded the review video for the new Perfect Keto chocolate cereal, and because these mics are just crazy sensitive. Like when we eat something, anytime I take a bite of something, I need to turn down the mic between 15 and 20 decibels in my editor, and it's still, you hear the chewing. But I digress. So I always have to turn that, I go into the fridge and I turn the knob for the freezer down to 0, and I always tell myself, I will remember to turn that back on once the video is done recording, so you're not picking up that persistent hum. You're about to get a persistent hum down here right now because the forced air heating system down in my man cave just turned on. But I forgot to turn it back on. So Monday morning, I open up the fridge, and if the freezer isn't working and the fan isn't blowing in the freezer, I think you don't get nearly as much cold air into the fridge. So the fridge was a little bit warm, and then I opened the freezer and see that the temperature is now approaching 40 degrees inside my freezer, and like all the ice is melting and things like that. So I took this then as a sign that I should replace that condenser fan or evaporator fan. I think it's a condenser fan. I get everything disassembled. I have the part. The part though seems slightly odd. The plastic piece that the 2 spade connectors are for the electricity is just sort of flopping around. And it appears to be only held together by 2 little copper filaments. And apparently what it is that piece is supposed to be like stuck on to the motor assembly, but it broke. And as a result, then when I was attempting to connect it, one of the wire filaments broke. So then I'm trying to disassemble the electromagnetic part of the motor, seeing if I can't, with a tweezers, withdraw one of those copper filaments, and then I would just solder things back together. That didn't work out, so I had to order a new motor, which hopefully is arriving today. And then I'll get everything assembled. And right now on my kitchen table, I've got a bunch of parts. I've got the freezer assembly more or less taken apart. I've still got the freezer on. It's not nearly as effective without the fan blowing, but it's cold enough that it's keeping things frozen. But so yeah, that was one where if I had just been thinking, and maybe if I had been caffeinated and was thinking more clearly, I would have recognized that there was something wrong with that part and I would have crazy glued it before attempting to install it. So that was mistake number 3. Now let's get into a keto mistake. Since I quit drinking alcohol, my proxy has been diet tonic water. And first, if you like tonic or diet tonic, I encourage you to look at the ingredients because some of them do have some of the sketchier artificial sweeteners in there, like aspartame and acesulfame K. Some use saccharin, and I'm of the belief that saccharin is fine. I think that was blown out of proportion back in the 70s, and I think that whole study was sort of false and biased. Steve's opinion only, your mileage may vary. But I had gone out and I had bought some tonic thinking it was diet tonic. It was on the shelf that said diet tonic, in my defense. But I was in a hurry, didn't really pay attention, grabbed like 4 bottles of it. And then the next day I'm drinking it. And first it didn't taste entirely right to me. It was a different brand than I was used to. It was like the store brand. It was whatever was cheapest. And it didn't have the same degree of sort of dryness / bitterness that I had gotten used to. But I drank it anyway, and I was like really, really thirsty that day. So I drank 3 liters of this particular tonic. And I noticed around dinner time as I was drinking it, again, it was adding up. This didn't taste quite right to me. And I'm looking at the back of the bottle, and I put on my reading glasses, and I see that it was not the diet version. It was the regular version. So 33 grams of carbs per serving, 3 servings per bottle. I had 3 bottles. So I took in 300 grams of carbs just drinking tonic that day. And all of those carbs were high fructose corn syrup. So immediately I go and I take a blood glucose test, not a blood glucose test, a ketone test. And of course, I'm down at a 2.2. Yeah, 0.2, not a 2. A 2 would have been amazing. So I was at a 0.2. So not completely out of ketosis, but out of nutritional ketosis because I was below 0.5. Fortunately, it was still above a 0, which was good. And the next day, fortunately, I was back to like a 0.6, and the day after that, a 1.1. So I'm grateful that I'm metabolically flexible and that I'm fat adapted and I can bounce right back. But the moral of the story here, as is often the case when buying any products, is take a good hard look at the ingredients and the nutritional facts. I failed to do that, and that's what happened. Could have been worse, but lesson learned. For the final segment of this podcast, I'd like to talk about affiliate marketing partners. Now, next week, when I do the next episode of Pragmatic Keto, I had to think for a second what it was called, but Pragmatic Keto, I'm going to talk about keto companies, keto products, and keto prices. So I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail in this particular segment on stuff that I'm going to be covering next week. But one of the things I want to talk about in terms of marketing partners is if you ever have an issue with somebody that is one of my affiliate marketing partners, please let me know. I mean, by issue, I mean you placed an order, something got screwed up, you called customer service, they didn't help you out, that sort of thing. Not like if you've got just like a personal issue against a company. That I can't do anything about. But 9 times out of 10, probably more than 9 times out of 10, if you come to me when you have a problem with an order or with customer service, I can get it fixed for you. Now, it's rarely the case that happens, because I intentionally pick companies to do business with that have a good reputation for customer service. And I've quit doing business with a couple of companies that I felt didn't take care of my customers or my viewers the way that they should. But what tends to happen is they'll say, oh, I had a problem, and I'll say, what's your order number? And I will get it escalated and I'll get it fixed. But sadly, very often people will leave a post complaining about, oh, such and such, they screwed up my order and they wouldn't help me and all this. And I say, give me your order number, I'll take care of it. and they don't. So I don't know if they don't have notifications turned on and they don't see my reply to them, or it could be that they're a competitor or something like that. They don't like brand XYZ because they work for brand ABC, so they're going to leave a nasty comment. I don't know. Long story short, if you have a problem, let me know. Usually I can get it fixed. The 1 or 2 times I haven't been able to get it fixed, the customer service people actually shared with me everything that went down. And usually it was, well, in these 2 instances, it was both someone being extremely abusive and really unreasonable. And I would have said, hey, I get it. I wouldn't have worked with this person either. So that's that. The other thing I want to tell you is, because I get this question a lot, which is, why don't you do promos or commercials? So a promo would be if in the middle of a video I hold something up like, hey, I use this brand of remote control. You should use this brand of remote control. Use coupon code SeriousKeto and get 20% off your next remote control. That's a promo where you talk about a product or a company and you embed it right into your video. It's not an ad that people can skip. If somebody's got YouTube Premium, they still wind up seeing it because it's part of your video. The other thing is, though, commercials, to actually appear in a manufacturer's ad. But I think that is going to be it for this podcast. As I indicated previously, next week we will be back with the 2nd monthly episode of Pragmatic Keto. And then we'll go back to another podcast. And then the week after that, I'll be doing another interview. And I've got a couple people in mind. I'm going to reach out to them and see who wants to be on worse. And we'll get them on. And we'll have another interview that I hope you enjoy. That's going to be it, though, for this video. As always, thanks for watching or listening.